So welcome everybody to the second artist talk for Grounded here in a VR space. If you've never been in here, it is a pretty cool way to display work. I started my gallery during COVID-19 when I missed the interaction between artists, but then I realized that this was a really helpful way for artists who are spread out to have a moment to talk about their work together. And you'll find it's pretty funny how quickly it feels like we're in the same space. Feel free to get right up close to any of the work, and if Aleka's ready, I'll let her take it away and start talking about Grounded by Grandfather.
I am ready. So this is a photograph that I have, I really didn't digitally manipulate it much. When I took it, I was really looking at the soul of the interaction between baby and grandfather. And typically you take a picture of a child, you want a pretty picture, and or what we call a pretty picture photograph, for memory. And what I really wanted in this case was what I was feeling, which was that nurturing, being held feeling. So he was not important. The grandfather was not important in this case, except as the larger person there, and his fingers and that. I wanted to show the contrast, because there's so much power that an adult has over a child, especially. This was at 4 months, I think. And when I took the photograph, I really, it for the most part did exactly as I wanted. And I don't think I cropped in much at all, cropped it as a photograph much. I did a little bit of vignette so that the focus was on the feeling, and it made it a little bit grainy for that reason also, because to me that feeling was more important than making it a pretty picture. A pretty baby picture, I should say. When this came up, when this Grounded exhibition came up, I knew right away that I had to submit this. And it really was only a month or two later, after I took the photograph, because of how it had made me feel. In this case, the personal aspect of this is both my husband and I grew up in environments, family situations that were not always safe, and we were not grounded by family much. Though I have to say that I was very much by my grandmother, and probably that influenced me in this, in choosing this photograph, because of the feeling that I got of the baby's safety, and that that it was being provided solely by the grandfather in this case. And we certainly have had generational issues in our family. And my husband and I, when we had children, were very intentional about it being not passing on any of that negative. of course we do anyway, because we're human, but making children feel safe, not just our children or our grandchildren, but any child. And so I was trying to communicate that with the camera and the close-up view of it. And the contrast of size, his fingers versus the size of her face and features, and that hand around her, which could literally be able to crush her, but is doing the opposite, was just holding her safely, and her feeling so nurtured and warm and safe in his arms, in his, against his chest. So, the features were not so important in the photograph. What was really important is the size of his hands comparatively, and that she looks totally enveloped and safe. So I definitely cropped some to make that happen. So, does anyone have questions for me? And I shot it in black and white, I should say.
It's such a beautiful piece. I love the composition and the scale. You really do feel that vulnerability, but the safety.
I said I shot it in black and white. I didn't, because nothing comes out in black and white these days, or very rarely. I did, but I quickly changed it to black and white, as I felt that was important. The colors were unimportant in this case. The textures and the other things. And what is that comment from that? Who's that person there?
Yeah, Doug has something to say. And it doesn't have to be a question if anybody has a comment.
I really love the contrast that you were able to get. And I think changing it to black and white really was a really great decision, I feel like.
Yeah, I think often the black and white is much more powerful in that way, because you don't focus on the colors. And in this case, he's wearing that plaid shirt, and that worried me for a little while about it being distracting. But I think taking the color out made a big difference that way.
Yeah, I might be just drawn to patterns, but I do love the plaid.
Yeah, you always you have that in the background of many of yours. It becomes inconsequential. I worried about it, but it kind of becomes inconsequential, or it provides something in the foreground, and helps you focus on fingers and baby's face.
And it also adds to the volume. If it were just black or just white, we might not feel that embrace as much.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Aleka.
You're welcome.
Is Jessica here?
I am.
Awesome. So if we want to move over to the violin piece over here.
Which direction are we going? I'm not sure where we are. Oh, I see people looking. Must be going in the right direction.
All right, Jessica, would you like to start talking about this piece?
Sure. So I've over the last few years, I've gotten into working on portraits. I'm mainly a landscape painter, but I found being out plein air painting and stuff, and those connections that I get with other people and other artists, I feel like I need to capture those connections. And that's how I started doing the portraiture work. But I work in oils, and I usually try to do it wet on wet, so I can have more ability to blend and that sort of stuff. But I feel like creativity, regardless of what kind it is, whether it's art, poetry, music, it helps to ground us, and it gives us an outlet to express ourselves. And and this is a friend of mine, and she is an amazing violinist, and I was able to get some really nice photos of her while she was playing, and her expressions, you could just see that that violin was almost like a part of her. And so I really enjoyed working on this one. I also write poetry too, and I usually include on most of my pieces, once I get them to the framing stage, I include poetry on the backs of them, because it just is like another layer to the connection to the work.
I really love the lighting in this. It adds to that soft feeling and the calm experience that you speak to, which I definitely agree with. Whatever the creative outlet is, it has that power to ground us.
It does. Definitely. I know, and she was kind of backlit a little bit, but there was another window that really just made her kind of glow, from reference photos.
Yeah, I love that you kind of do expect, if there's light in the background, that she's not going to be lit up enough, but she is.
Mm-hmm.
I like that she's the backlighting can be interpreted as her light, the musical light within her.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way of putting it.
It's interesting, Jessica, that Danielle and I were talking just a few days ago about my husband is a musician, and this need to create music in his case, and in this woman's case, your subject's case, like other people, where we feel about creating art.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's an outlet, and an inlet and an outlet that grounds us, and that some people just can't live without. And
Yes. I know, and I feel sorry for people that don't have some kind of creative outlet. Because for me, and I think with most artists or all artists, it is so important to have that time to create it, because I think we process a lot just through our creativity.
Totally agree. Thank you so much, Jessica. Did anyone else have questions or comments? All right, well, is Christy here? Okay, I don't think she is, so we can come back if... Okay, so is Susanne here?
I am.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, so let's all come over to A Song Yet to Be Sung. All right, if you'd like to speak about this.
Okay. One, I have to say this is just really a surreal experience to be able to see everybody's disembodied heads walking around the room looking at art. My name is Susanne, and my piece is A Song Yet to Be Sung, and that is an intentional truncation of the word sung, which was the song lyric from Death Cab for Cutie, Black Sun. And my subject is my honorary niece, Soph, and she is the daughter of a dear friend of mine. And Soph, at the time of this portrait, was 19 and just headed off to college. And I really wanted to capture the quietness that she embodies. She is a sole introvert in a family of extroverts, and she has her own way about her, and she can be a little dark, even though, and so to have this piece where she's standing, basking in the sun, but eyes closed, black bikini, the dark foliage around her really kind of captures that this is more than a pretty picture or like a school picture. She um, is finding her way. And now that she's 24, she's out of college. But this really captured that moment where you're 19 years old and you're just finding out what the world is going to hold for you.
Mm.
And I just loved, as far as the painting of it, this was probably my 5th portrait that I had attempted. And the hair, I just loved doing every little tendril of the hair. I loved the makeup that she had on at the beach, and she had this dark green eyeshadow on. I don't know if anybody can see it, but like there's like a little tiny nose ring that glints in the sun, and the high shadow of casting onto her like alabaster skin. And this is rendered in pastel. And one of the reasons I love the medium so much is that when light shines onto a pastel, the fragments of the pigments light up. And so when it's in the with a direct, the right lighting, it really just emanates this warmth that it really enhances that she's standing in the sun and at the beach.
Yeah, I definitely encourage people to get right up close. There's some amazing detail. Did you use pastel pencil too, I'm assuming?
Yes.
You get so much control and precision. Really beautiful.
And it was very fun to bring Soph to the opening.
Yeah, a lot of people resonated with that feeling, especially as we struggle to get to a warm spring.
Mm.
But that feeling of warmth and that grounding sensation, especially it's helpful to hear that she was somebody that was maybe challenged to get to that space. Just to see her in that space is beautiful. Did anyone have questions or comments for Jessica?
Was this, Jessica, was the sky, the clouds, did you do this from a photograph?
I did. I took
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne actually, and I did do it
Oh,
from
yes.
Oh, I'm
a
sorry.
photograph.
Mm-hmm. So were the clouds the same, or did you alter them from the photograph to the
I
pastels?
I definitely altered them. I wanted them to appear almost like a halo, and
And they do, yeah.
the bushes behind her to be like angel wings.
Mm.
Very nice.
Is it soft pastel or oil pastel?
It is soft pastel.
Okay. It's a beautiful piece.
Thank you.
It really is.
I'm curious, how did she feel about seeing it?
Um,
And,
she was actually really excited to see it, especially in
Mhm.
a gallery setting.
Yeah.
And then she shared with me, like, she had just had her solo um, thesis the year before, and she had done a series of self-portraits, and so she showed me her self-portraits in comparison to this portrait and how different of different styles that we have.
Hmm.
And but she loves the piece, um she she was like very giggly, which isn't usually her. um
Hmm.
it's very reserved, but I think it was, she kind of actually, as an adult now, it was kind of like that she was the sole focus for my piece. I think she actually kind of did like being in that little spotlight, even if it was in a small way.
Hmm.
It
So
must have been
beautiful.
really interesting to see, because I think as artists, like everybody sees something different in other people. So it must have been interesting to see the comparison of your work again with her work, and the different things that you guys focused on.
Yes, I tend to idealize my subjects. I usually take the photos and I edit them before I paint from them. And so, like,
Hmm.
the color may differ a little bit, or I highlight the value range,
Mm.
where she's very literal. And if, like, she has a pimple on her cheek, she will like do the pimple and the whereas I would probably leave that off.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you so much, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Really elegant.
Hmm.
Is Marisa here? Let's look around. Oh, I see Marisa. We can't quite hear you if you're saying something.
What color is Marissa?
I think red. Marissa, can you hear us? You can move your head around with your mouse. Okay. it might be helpful to exit and come back in. Okay, I see you moving your head. If your browser prompted you to allow a mic, make sure you say yes. Do you want to try exiting and coming back in? Okay, yes. She disappeared. Okay, well, while she comes back in, let's look at Erica's, which is right next door.
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Hi everyone. I got here a little late, but I will definitely listen to the recording. It is being recorded, right, Danielle?
Yeah.
Excellent. I just want to say about yours, Suzanne. I absolutely love how her face is, her frown, her everything's sort of turning down, yet her face is lifted to the sun. That paradox is just really powerful in that painting. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
So this is a painting that I did. It's a watercolor. I did not expect it to be accepted in, but it was sort of like a soothing, grounding one for me to do for myself. And it's me petting my cat, who's all cuddled and cradled on my knees. And my cat's name is Butterscotch, and I've had her for 18 years. And she's very, very attached to me. I got her when she was 4 weeks old, so I think that she thinks I'm her mother. Um,
Mm.
and so I wanted to get that connection, and I called it the purr connection. But I wanted to really get that symbiotic sort of circular, um, cyclical kind of feeling connection that happens when she's warm on my body and her purring is attached to me and I'm petting her at the same time, so that there's this sort of
Mm.
round, I don't know how else to put it, cyclical, symbiotic, mutual sort of giving each other love.
Mm.
And I feel very grounded when she's near me and when she's purring and when I can pet her. I just feel very connected. So that's my painting. And I'm open to questions.
It's very different from some of your other work I've seen, Erica. This is Aleka.
Yes, it is. I'm definitely in a transformation right now. I prefer to do watercolors, but I'm probably better at pastel. I really enjoy pastel also, but I'll only do it outside because of the dust.
Mm.
So in the winter, I tend to do watercolor much more. And I did an exercise in January of doing a painting a day, which really, really helped me to
Mm.
just really dive into it, be experimental, be playful, explore, um, just to be really like get out of my own way in terms of my, my self-perceived voice or something, just to try new things. So I think I'm in green here, green and brown, and even Butterscotch, even though she doesn't have any green in her, she's kind of absorbed some of my green.
Mm.
And yeah, it is different for me. I'm also doing right now, I'm doing a lot of collages, and I even did a kind of a sculptural piece with Danielle recently too. So yeah, I'm trying to expand. Thanks for noticing that.
It is. This has a sculptural feeling to it.
Oh, that's nice. That's a compliment. Thank you.
Mm.
I love how you use the lines and how it directs you all the way through the piece. And so, like, while it's almost in an L shape, you have that a lot of that negative space that's nice and calm. And so you go right from your head and hand right down to the cat where it's nice and warm. And yet your legs bring you back around. So it has this really nice S curve that brings you constantly back to the cat.
Mm.
That's a great observation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love this piece, and I agree. It is a departure. I love the color choices and the fact that butterscotch has the green. That really does help tell the
Mm,
story of the
mhm.
give and take.
And also that your hands and the spine have more of butterscotch's color. So it's almost
Mm-hmm.
like you're sharing that
Mm-hmm.
with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, she's absorbing into me and I'm absorbing into her. Exactly.
Yes.
There's also an energy to the piece, like the position that you chose. It's almost that like you're rising up into her, or
Mm-hmm.
there's a tension that I
Mm-hmm.
love.
Mm.
Wow. Great feedback. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, Erica.
Sure.
And
I'm
did
I'm
you want
very
to come
humbled
up?
to be part of it.
Oh, good. Marissa, I see you're here. Are you able to?
Hi.
Oh, good. We hear
Yeah,
you
can you hear me?
now. Awesome. So yeah, if you want to speak to about your piece here, it's this.
Yeah. So this is my painting. It's an oil painting, called I Can Never Have It in the Way That I Want. And this is the first painting in a new series that I'm working on, where I'm painting people that I know who identify, like self-identify with the idea of hybridity or being mixed in some way. So I'm doing these interviews with my models beforehand about their sense of identity and how they identify with the idea of hybridity in terms of having an identity relating to gender, sexuality, or race that is somehow in between categories. Um, and so the title actually comes from something that my model Tim said to me during our interview. And after the interviews, I think over what they've told me about their sense of identity, and I come up with kind of the scene in my head. And then I've been conducting my own photo shoots and kind of sourcing other materials, which I then make an analog collage with. And then the collage is what kind of serves as my final reference for the painting. So for this piece, I did a photo shoot of my model Tim on the beach. We were talking about his connection to Cape Cod, and it's kind of interspersed with these collaged pieces of artwork from his grandparents' home, and we were discussing
Mm.
his mixed Greek and Chinese identity and his connection to place, navigating that.
Mm. I was very intrigued when I saw this in person at the opening. And it's interesting to hear you talk about it now because of that, of what I was looking and seeing. I've noticed the cultures and the seeming a little bit of reference to maybe mythology, Greek mythology, and um, now I understand. I like where he's um, looking at his reflection either in the water or reflection at something.
Yeah, I was
Um,
definitely playing with the reflection as a way to look at how someone perceives themselves versus how the world perceives them. And
mhm,
definitely with the pose we were referencing, for sure, some more like classical paintings and playing with kind of the dichotomy of like posing a male figure in a more feminine pose, and
mhm.
the hair brushing is also kind of playing into that.
I just love how you fragment the space and it
Mhm.
somehow still makes sense. The feeling of being grounded, even though there's sky and grass underneath the figure.
I think it really plays with the whole reflection piece. I love that it feels very collage-y, even though it's a painting, that you use a collage as a reference, and just the way it's sort of broken up in pieces, but they all go together. Yeah, it really feels like it's like a play on the whole idea of mirror. And yeah, mirror is really important. Reflection, it means a lot. Great
Yeah,
job,
definitely.
Mark.
Thank
Great job.
you.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love that you found a way to give us that comfort of understanding, but not understanding at the same time.
Mm.
We know that
Yeah,
there's more to the story, but we're able to grasp some of it.
yeah, I wanted the image to be kind of disorienting where you can kind of pick up fragments, but definitely a goal for me in this series is that the kind of truer meaning of the piece is really only known to myself and the model based on our interview. So it kind of
Mm.
keeps their identity private, and at the same time, we're giving kind of my representation of how I think that they perceive their own identity, but playing again into that sense of hybridity and kind of being solitary in a world that really, relies on identity.
Mm.
It's kind of not legible fully to the audience still.
It also has been the mirror aspect, but like a puzzle aspect to it.
Yeah, definitely. And kind
And
of piece the scene together.
mm-hmm. And I think we all are pieces of a puzzle to ourselves, but as you're talking about being a hybrid, I have a daughter who's was raised in a kind of Greek culture, though she's a Latina, um, and I think sees herself as pieces like that. So I think that's fascinating.
Definitely, yeah. I was really trying to speak to the mixed experience and how you feel kind of like a solitary identity come out of that
Mm-hmm.
mix of identities.
Mm.
I also really like the movement with the double brush. That feeling of I can like feel my hair pull, even though my hair is not that long anymore. You can feel that. Okay, gotta
Yeah,
work out
yeah, I
the
wanted to capture
tomorrow.
the action.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
enjoy this piece. Both I'm looking at the piece in the gallery and on the computer, which is extra fabulous.
Thank you.
But feel free to everyone to get right up close and see the detail. And Blane, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Awesome. We'll make our way over to your piece.
Yeah, this piece is called "Fire on the Mountain." Um, the reference that I used was an old picture of me and my brother uh, looking at a bonfire that we had at our house when we were younger. Um, and this piece is kind of a step outside of my comfort zone. I usually do uh, pretty. Um, my paintings are more faithful to the reference. They're not as abstract as I went with this one, but I really enjoyed like kind of feeling more loose with this, and I used a palette knife for it, and I'd never experimented with that before, but I really enjoyed just kind of the mark making of it, and just using really bold colors I really enjoyed that. And for me, the colors remind me of when I was younger. Everything, the whole world seemed more colorful back then, but
Mm.
not so much anymore sometimes. But this is just kind of a nostalgic piece for me, I guess. And there's another figure that's beside the fire. That was my dad, who was, I guess, kind of tending to the fire.
I really love this piece. I can't believe this was the first time you used a palette knife. You seem very comfortable with it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a learning curve at first, but then I kind of got the hang of it, and
Mm.
I got to a point where I didn't want to overwork it, and that's kind of always a hard point for me, because if I get it to a certain spot and then I overwork it, and it kind of ruins the piece. So I'm glad I stopped when I did.
Yeah. We had the Cub Scouts in the gallery, and a lot of them were drawn to your piece. And I kind of love that you have these, intense colors, and fire itself is so intense, but there's a warmth and a calming atmosphere.
Yeah, it felt just remembering back to when this picture was taken. We were pretty far away from the fire, so it was it does have that. I don't know. We are safe, but
Mm.
yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to look at it.
I love hearing the backstory of it, because growing up too, we always had bonfires in our backyard, and it was just always such a good time. It's very nostalgic.
Yeah, a lot of good memories, and painting this one, I have it's kind of opened up my. Uh, I've kind of gone in a different direction. I've done another one that is from another old picture, so in the same kind of style, and I kind of like where this has led me. Instead of, because I've kind of always felt like I've had to fully render everything and be really detailed, but I mean, I really like this because I can. I don't have to. It doesn't have to look like a photograph, and I've always kind of struggled with that.
Do you plan to do more with the palette knife?
Yeah. I think I would like to focus on scenes from my childhood uh, in that same style.
Awesome. Did anyone have any questions or comments?
I was thinking that the space between the fire and the children, there's so much value and color difference of makes it increases the groundedness of the children and the safety and the distance from the fire, so that you can see that they're watching and enjoying it, but it's not a threatening fire, even though it's a large fire. And I think that's been you emphasize that with shadow and some of the green around it, and the contrast of the blanket that the children are on.
Yeah, that's a great observation. Uh, yeah, like I was saying, we were pretty far away from the fire, and I'm glad that came across in the
Mm.
paint.
also the composition is so beautiful, and that there's mostly white in the foreground, that also lends to that feeling of safety.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful work.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being here. I know Rob wanted to be here, but he was having some internet issues. Was anyone else here that didn't get to speak that wanted to? I think we got everybody. If you haven't been in this space before, you can actually go through the doorway and explore other galleries, which is pretty cool. It's a whole network of different art spaces. The galleries do rotate out, so feel free to stick around and explore. But I hope you all enjoy your Sunday, and I hope you enjoyed this unique experience.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Danielle.
You're welcome.
Great.
All right, have a great day, guys.
You too.
Too.
Bye.